Hello, and welcome back to this week's episode of the Chiefs Fans Before We Were Cool podcast.
Yep, we were Chiefs fans before we were cool.
Yes. Maybe before it was cool to be a Chiefs fan too, but definitely before we were cool. So,
100%.
yeah. So we got a lot to cover this week. Really fun
Do
Chiefs
we?
game. Well, yeah, I guess
That's like, I'm not sure
that
that was much of a game to cover. I'm just
that's
like,
true. That's true.
we won very soundly. The
Yeah.
Bears did not do anything. It's over. All right,
This
peace out.
summary of the week. Yeah, just leave. Yeah, I guess it's not that much to go over. It's a kind of game that's really fun if you're a fan of the winning team, and if you care any about football at all, it's not very fun. But
Right,
we have some memes, and Eric has not seen these memes ahead of time this week,
I'm not.
so we'll get his genuine reaction. Um, so why don't you go ahead and go to the first meme, and I'll read them out loud like I do and bring it up on the screen. But
All right,
yeah,
memes. What's the memes meme? I'm just kidding.
yeah, the memes meme, the title slide just says memes.
Title slide. Okay, all right. Title slide. All right. So
Okay,
let's look at the real memes. Okay, here we
first
go.
meme: Bears to change their name to Cubs after the game. Yeah, and they'll match in their
So I
city.
have
And
I have I have a family that are big Cubs fans, and one of my older family members says, if you're looking, tells women sometimes if you're looking for a good husband, look for a Cubs a Cubs fan because they'll be loyal.
yeah,
But it's also funny that it's changing Bears to the Cubs, which I also get. But
yeah. Um, it reminds me of yeah, I have a friend who's a Browns fan, and every year when they start off hot, he says, I'm ready to be hurt again," quoting Michael Scott, of course. So there's that one. Okay, let's go to the next one.
all right.
So here you got the kids at the playground, right? And you got the Chiefs beating up on the Bears. And then you've got Taylor Swift watching, and then Taylor Swift fans watching their first football game. So cheering them on. So
I don't know. Like, did you see any news articles about that? Were there like new fans to the game, or people saying they
um
were watching it because
so
Taylor Swift was there?
I gotta do this disclaimer. A lot of my Taylor Swift information, besides things from watching the game, comes from my wife Hannah, who's a big Taylor Swift fan. Now she liked the Chiefs before today or before this week, but so she would see other Taylor Swift fans asking, "Why was Taylor at the game?" And she got the inside scoop first. But I think there will
Oh,
be a
awesome.
lot more Taylor Swift fans watching the Chiefs now because anything she does, her fans like. And I just gotta say, there's room in the Chiefs kingdom for all of you. So just come on in. We got the best team. So just come on in. It'll be great. But we'll probably talk about more of that as we
Enjoy
go
it.
on. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
here.
yeah. She seemed super excited when Travis scored that touchdown.
Yep,
That
yep.
was that
She
was a fun moment.
she sometimes you'll watch celebrities and you see even at the Super Bowl and they're just like bored on their phone. She definitely got into the game, which I appreciate. People were joking.
Oh,
I heard
that's
a
good.
commentator saying
Yeah,
like she was celebrating more than Donna was when Travis scored, which was kind of funny. But
probably was.
all
Probably
right,
was.
let's go to the next meme. So ESPN this
Uh,
weekend. So if
oh
you're not
my.
following college football at all,
Yeah.
Sanders coaching Colorado, and obviously a ton going on there. But this week, everything's about Taylor Swift. So jealous, or not jealous boyfriend, boyfriend, distracted boyfriend meme. That's what it's called.
Well,
So
also like Colorado got destroyed,
they also
right?
got
So
destroyed. Yeah. Yep. All right. Not much to say
rough.
on that one. I love this next one. I found it. And several of these have been courtesy of NFL memes. So I'll give credit where credit's due, but I like this next one a lot. Um,
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, try to scale its way to Kelsey.
Yeah, Jackson Mahomes trying to scale his way in so he can do TikTok with Taylor Swift. Now, Jackson's done a good job of staying out of the attention of the NFL recently. but this
Yeah.
meme was just too good from a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Um, so this next one is not so much a meme, a little bit. It's again by NFL memes, but Eric, why don't you read this out loud? This is for the new football fans who've come over because of Taylor Swift. So this just gives them a little bit of football knowledge. So why don't you read this out loud for everyone?
So the NFL explained for Swifties new to football, you have 4 tries, downs to go 10 yards. If you make a first down, you keep the ball and the cycle repeats. If you don't, the other team gets the ball. You can score touchdowns for 6 points or kick a field goal for 3 points. The Dallas Cowboys always suck no matter how much their fans will try to convince you otherwise. Joel, I think you're trying to get me in trouble here.
I didn't write this meme. You didn't write this meme. In fact,
you
I was
just made
halfway.
me read that.
I just made you read it, and to be honest, it was so well done. Sorry, Cowboys fans, but it was so well done because you're reading it and you're like, oh, this is really helpful. Gets to the there's a joke in it, and you didn't expect it.
Low blow.
Yeah.
I feel just for the record, I know Cowboys are, I don't know if they're necessarily rivals of the Chiefs, but they're not obviously the same team. But I'm a big fan of the team that, like, I cheer for them a lot because everybody around me is a lot happier when they win.
Yeah, that's true.
And then when they lose to Arizona, they're very sad.
That's true. I didn't think about where you live when I made you read that, to be honest. So please don't go after Eric. He didn't know what he was getting into.
Yeah, please forgive me.
Now
I love you all. I love you, Dak Prescott and Cowboys defense. Prayers for Stephon Diggs. Anyway.
Yeah.
Or Trayvon.
So this next one, the point of this next one is because Taylor was at the game, right? Everyone's like, oh, it's because she's dating Travis. So you can go ahead and go to the next one. A friend sent me this one, but I also found on
I wonder who on the Dallas Cowboys Chris Christie is dating.
Yeah. So, so I just thought that was funny and would include that one. Funny. So those are our memes for the week. And you might think only one of those, or I guess kind of two, 1.5 was actually about the Chiefs game.
But I mean, the Chicago already memed itself. Like the whole game was Chicago.
That's true.
For Chicago, they are still figuring stuff out, still maybe using Justin the wrong way, and not the time to run into a Chiefs team with, Chris Jones and all the defensive strength. And, no, it's rough.
It was a rough week for 2 animal named teams, especially. So we're filming this during Monday Night Football this week. We had some obligations later in the week, so we had to film earlier. So don't know how that game's going, but obviously, 2 of the animal named teams, the Bears and the Dolphins, or not the Bears and the Broncos, had rough weeks.
Right, that Broncos game, it just kept going. Like, hey, but I did hear something. I don't know if you heard about this, but the Dolphins could have kicked a field goal and broke the NFL scoring record. Like they could have actually beat it, but they chose to kneel it out and not shoot the field.
Yeah.
So as bad it was, and it could have been worse.
And we're going to talk about this now instead of the late. But like I was at a Buffalo Wild Wings-esque place where there's all the games on. So I didn't see everything, but what I looked at afterwards is it looked like even after they switched into their backups, there would just be like a running back would just like break like 4 tackles and just like score huge plays. Like it basically everything went wrong for Broncos and everything.
Both the running backs scored 4 touchdowns.
Man, that's crazy. That if this was your first week watching football, you probably are going to be disappointed next week about how games normally go. But so those are our memes and a little bit about the week. Did you have any interesting facts for us this week with Eric?
Oh, yes, interesting facts. Well,
I guess stats more.
Stat that. Okay, so I mean, some of it's just thinking about updates. I thought something. Do you know who is leading the Chiefs in sacks this season?
Is it Chris Jones? I mean, he didn't play in the first
Yes.
game, so
And who also is?
uh Karlaftis?
No.
No. Who else?
Well, I think it's a good segue. It's Mike Dana.
Okay.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
he's been doing really well. Like
Yeah.
he's not been strong in the past, but he's I just was like I saw that and I was like, oh wow, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
Um,
It's an honor
how
to
well
share a
they're
stat
playing.
with Chris Jones. It's also crazy that he's already there when he's missed a third of the season at this point, you know. But
Right, right. Okay, so just an update. Who is the Chiefs' leading receiver on the year?
I think now it's got to be Sky Moore, right?
No, it's still Justin Watson.
It's still he had one catch, right? Or did he have two? He had two, maybe.
Yeah,
Um,
he had two big catches. He keeps
two big
catching all the
catches.
long ones.
I was like, this time it's gotta be,
It's gonna be
yeah,
somebody else. It's like, no, Justin Watson.
yeah,
He's gonna go for 1,000 yards this year. Here we
yeah,
go.
yeah. I'm sorry, Justin. I'm gonna
Well,
next week I'm gonna say you unless Kelsey
well,
gets like
yeah, he's
200
on pace for
yards.
850 right now, which is
So
hilarious to me.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
that's
That was a pretty
a
good catch on the like sideline in the
oh
game.
yeah,
So
yeah. Like he's been playing, especially those deep balls.
yeah.
He's been playing pretty well. And then finally, tackles. Who has the most tackles? This one surprised. This is the other thing
Well,
that
Bolton didn't play this week. Um, I don't think it's Sneed. I was thinking about this and I thought I had an answer, but I'm drawing a blank all of a sudden. Yeah, it's not Sneed, but I can't think who is it.
it's Trent McDuffie.
McDuffie, nice.
McDuffie's been good. Like that's a
Yeah,
good segue into talk about McDuffie a little bit. Another player that's been playing kind of out of his mind.
yeah.
Uh,
Did you see they pulled up a stat that the Chiefs' average age of the defense is real young? I think it was 20, 24, almost 25. Um, like 24 in like 300 days or something. It was like the average age
yeah,
on the team, and they are playing some football right now.
yeah. I was trying to see where he's ranked among the top ones. Uh, and I'm not saying. I mean, he was just a anyway rookie. But yeah, you're like looking at uh, cornerbacks. You can't even see his name. Of top rated stuff.
Yeah,
He's been doing really well. I thought I had
yeah,
heard somewhere about this season so far. He's like one of the top rated players at his position. But
yeah. And I feel like in seasons past, an area where the Chiefs defense was really weak was against the deep ball. Um, one on one, the corners would often get beat. And there's a couple deep balls that the Bears got, but they also in one on one situations they broke up the pass. They're in good position. So I was really happy to see that.
Duffy is such a blanketed receiver. It's funny he dropped because everybody's like, "Well, his arms aren't long enough" or something like that. It's like, yeah, I mean that is an advantage,
Yeah.
but it's not like if you're that sticky, if you're that close to receiver, that those 2 inches, you're that much closer. Like that you're making up for that distance.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, anyway, so
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that gives us a good chance to go into the rest of the game. Um, there was a couple things we talked about last week that we wanted to see, right? Um, the offense click. Would you say that happened this week?
I mean, look, I don't know if you can call what the Bears do defense.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and they did fire their defensive coordinator last week.
oh, they did.
So yeah,
Yeah, I didn't catch that.
um, so that's already going against you. But if that's the game that jumpstarts the
Oh,
Chiefs' offense,
yeah,
that's
it,
great.
it was definitely a get right game.
Yeah,
Where we're like, hey, we're gonna do everything, and we did. We
yeah,
went up and down the field, dominated, line of scrimmage, dominated all these things. Watched, didn't lose contain on Justin Fields a lot,
yeah,
even when they were trying to do more runs and stuff. So yeah, no, we're like our defense is doing really well. And you know, you have to play against who's against you, and we got 41 points in 3 quarters, and then sat our starters. So
Yeah. And I think this week with the Bears and with the Broncos, it's easy to be like, oh man, these teams are on two different leagues. But like the NFL is not like college where there are like, there are teams that are just like way out of each other's leagues. Obviously, it didn't look like it this week, but like in professional football, you can have games that surprise you. You can have, the Colts are a good example of this. Nobody thought that they would keep up with the Ravens at all. And obviously they did. So you can lose to teams because every game's competitive. If you go into game, this is going to be easy. You often lose those games.
right. I mean, the prime example of that this week, not to rub salt in the wound, was the Cowboys losing the Cardinals. You know,
Yeah,
a more
yeah,
dominant team, like what is it, like 70 points or something? Like
yeah,
coming into it, 70 to 10, right? Their opponents had scored 10 points.
yeah,
And it's like, oh, yeah, the Cardinals played tough, came in. So you just got to beware of the trap games, and a lot
yep,
of getting into the playoffs is beating the teams you should beat and winning at home, like doing
yeah,
well at home. Like, and you do that, you're going to get into the playoffs, and you're going to do well
yep.
in the league. So
Another thing we wanted to see was the run game. Um, so here's an interesting thing that to point out. Not only obviously we made a priority early, Mahomes didn't have the most rushing yards. You can hear our dog maybe in the background there. I don't know how good the mic cuts out her barking, so maybe you didn't hear it, and then I sound like I'm hearing things. But all three of our running backs scored this week.
yeah,
So
we ran, and some of that's probably game script. Like when you're up that much, you run more.
yeah,
But we did. It was cool to see our running backs run 32 times,
yeah.
like just straight rushing, and
Well, game
some dump offs
script
too.
and the fact that Rice kept getting the ball on the 1/2 yard line when he'd get tackled. Like it was crazy, right? He deserves a touchdown. He keeps splitting the
Twice.
zone and he gets like right there. We are like, oh, like 6 inches, and he's like there.
He's
Like,
fine. He's a
yeah,
rookie. He'll
yeah.
get his
And
touchdown.
he got a touchdown first game of the season. So,
Yeah.
he the other thing I was like, man, MVS deserved that catch he got at the end because he had two big catches that were wiped away. I don't know what your thoughts on this were. To me, it seemed like because of how bad Taylor did lining up week one, that the refs were still going after him. And some of those ones I was like, there's maybe one that looked like, okay. And then a second one where they wiped out a huge play that MVS got. And you're like, he doesn't look deeper than anybody else, like any other, and so it's a little crazy.
Yeah, I've heard the stats. It's like they're calling it on him more than the entire NFL combined.
Yeah.
So, and he's definitely not the only one doing it. Yeah,
And not
so
doing it as
it's
bad as he was either. He's made
no,
improvements. So
yeah, he's made adjustments, and they're still have a target on his back. And like, I mean, I don't know. Like, I guess they got embarrassed, and sometimes when people get embarrassed, they do things they shouldn't. You know, the refs
yeah,
got into a situation the first game where they didn't call it, didn't make a deal out of it until the very end of the game, and everybody was talking about it the whole time. They don't want to be in the news that way,
yeah,
so they're going to call it, but now they're going to get in the news because they're kind of targeting, like
yeah,
just
yeah,
like stop. You know, that's two wrongs don't make a right. Like
yep,
just it's okay. But yeah, he's still going to figure it out. We didn't we know that he had some stuff. He would get some calls and penalties, just like Donovan Smith. Probably not as much as Donovan Smith, but
hmm,
I don't know. I like Jawan Taylor. I think it's cool we have a good pass rush defense. I still
yeah,
think we overpaid for him. Because like I feel like if you're going to pay 20 million, they need to be able to do the run and pass block elite. But we really focus on pass block, which is right. That's what we do all the time. So it's okay,
yeah,
and we can still run down the middle. But it's just kind of like it limits your run game too, because you can't do as much off the side if you can only really run down around Joe Tooney and Creed Humphrey and
yeah,
Ray Smith.
yep.
But
Obviously, protecting Mahomes is a huge
yeah,
need. Obviously, players like Andrew Luck, who had tons of talent, careers cut short because they took too much of a beating, right? So,
That's true.
but but you obviously you want to there are players who can get both, and so hopefully we keep improving in the run game.
It's
So
okay. He'll grow on me. He'll be
yeah,
fine.
yeah,
Like that's I mean, that's how the Chiefs kind of do stuff though. They pay for young ascending players, and I think the idea is even if they don't get better too much, like technically, like their skill doesn't improve too much, they have enough physical tools that they'll be okay.
yeah,
Whereas once somebody loses, like declines beyond those physical tools, that's when you're in a real trouble. And so I think that's part of what was the hang up with Chris Jones. I don't think it was warranted. I think, he's, at least for a 3 year, it's okay. But, I think like the thing with Jawan Taylor, like we paid him closer to what other people would probably offer him, like 60 mil a year. Maybe we can pay Chris Jones like that difference. I don't know.
yeah,
So it's hard with but again, they'll overpay for ascending players. They did the same thing with not Tyrann Mather, our edge rusher that we lost this year.
oh yeah, I know who you're talking about, but my name.
Oh my word, that's so bad I can't do it. But yeah, it'll come to us.
Well,
We're
and,
okay.
and I'll say this that obviously football finances are super complicated. I feel like Brett Veach is a financial wizard. Like sometimes, I don't understand all
Frank
the
Clark.
Frank.
Frank
Oh
Clark.
yeah, yeah. Um,
Sorry, Frank Clark. We
yeah,
love you, Frank Clark. A
yeah,
little bit. I mean, you went to the Broncos, so we don't love you that much. But
yeah.
we did what you achieved.
but
We
but Taylor,
respect you.
by the end of the season, Eric's gonna be saying that he loves you. So,
I'll
but
become a Swiftie, man.
yeah, yeah. I was talking about the linemen, but also that. So, um, Brett Veach seems to pull money out. Our cap, we have terrible cap room, and then contracts get restructured, and we have more money.
True.
And it. I was kind of hoping that the Chiefs would get some of that love that the Pats got, where players would take pay decreases to be at a place where they would win, right? But it seems like we're at a point where people are trying to really say, hey, I should be paid fairly for my talent, which is obviously an important thing. But I was just hoping, man, we'd get a few of those years where we
Sorry,
get
get
good
this guy.
players that are just like a
Did
ring's
it?
more important than me.
Did the Pats? I mean, Brady did that.
Yeah,
I feel
Brady
like the
did that.
Patriots kept having to churn like out good players from drafts and stuff
Yeah,
because
that's true. And
because because they wouldn't pay people more. Like it's like, oh, they took a discount. It's like, no, if you want to play for us, you are a discount. Like
yeah, yeah,
they don't want to pay their players too much, so they would underpay. Like they had the biggest spending spree a couple years ago, and they were still really bad. But like they were finally like, okay, we'll pay. We got to get better, and it's like hasn't come together yet for them. But that's
yeah,
okay. They could beat
yep,
the Jets though, so they're doing all right.
yeah.
They'll bounce back.
They
Their
got a good
defense
they
is
got a good
strong.
defense, and so yeah. Um, yeah, it was honestly a really good overall, just solid performance in the game for the Chiefs, what they really needed. I'll go back to say what I said last week. If the defense keeps playing like it is, and if the offense, obviously, we're not going to put up that many points every week, but if they continue to click and not drop balls, I think we're a Super Bowl winning team
Yeah,
with what we got. So,
right.
I saw somebody today. I don't remember who. My ESPN notification came up that somebody had said the Chiefs were going to win this Super Bowl this year because of the Taylor Swift vibe. Um, so I'm not exactly sure what that means, but any Swifties in here, you could say, obviously the Chiefs Australian offense, she comes to a game, they go big. So they're probably going to think Taylor Swift is our offensive coordinator or something. But not quite true, but hey, it was a good week. So I'm not complaining.
Start thinking through KSO songs like shake it off," right?
Yeah.
Like every
Yeah.
time somebody like they could just start singing song lines that
Oh,
work.
and the NFL and
Yeah,
ESPN is eating this up. They showed Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey became the touchdown, like quarterback and receiver duo with the most
yeah.
touchdowns in Chiefs history. And the caption of it was the story of us, so that they're going to be going nuts of this for the next few
There
weeks.
you go.
Um, I'd say maybe we could transition now some fantasy advice, but I also just have some football advice for any new people that might be Taylor Swift fans that are now into the NFL. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
here's my
Don't be
advice.
Cowboy fans. Be
Don't,
Chiefs fans.
yeah, the Chiefs are the best. Travis Kelsey is the best tight end. Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback.
Yeah.
They're the best team. Be a Chiefs fan. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Don't think about blocking when you think about tight ends. Think about Travis Kelsey
Yeah.
making double moves,
Yep.
running down the seam and getting us some yards right before we kick a field goal.
Yep.
Buffalo.
It doesn't seem to matter if everybody in the stadium knows the ball's going to Kelsey. Like it doesn't seem to matter. Like they could put
I
up a
mean,
sign.
that's kind of how it is. I mean, that's how the greats work. That's how it works for Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like if you saw any of that game Sunday night,
Yep.
there he was always open.
Yep. I remember obviously the Falcons up losing to the Patriots in the Super Bowl, but Julio Jones, another all-time great. He was double covered a lot of the game. They put him near the boundary. The ball, Matt Ryan would throw the ball towards the edge. He'd catch it, tap 2 feet in bounds. And it's like, how do you defend that when literally they're using the out of bounds because you can't cover him on that side? Like it's crazy how good players can do that. So do you have
Yeah.
any fantasy advice or general football advice for?
Oh my! I feel like my fantasy advice is pick up all the players I drop because they're gonna go off.
Yeah.
Drop
Yeah.
DeAndre Swift before his big game in Philadelphia in a shallow league, and then in a deeper league, I just this past week I dropped Devon Achane, who went off for 50 points. So far, have some regrets. Not
Yep.
doing the best, but I would just say, hey, trust the stars. Make sure that you're paying attention to the waiver wire though, and kind of building out your roster. I don't know, like make trades. It's fun.
Yep.
Don't be
Fantasy is more fun when people make
like
trades.
why would you make your whole season depend on you like what you did for an hour when it could be
Yeah.
something you stress about for the 4 months?
Yeah. True. True.
I'm just kidding. Just do whatever works for you. Have
Yeah.
fun.
Have
Yeah.
fun.
Pick
Don't
pick
take
the
it too
players you want to
seriously.
watch. I think that's like what I would say. Like
Yeah.
when you're doing it, like have fun. Recognize that only 1 out of 8 or 1 out of 12 or 1 out of 14 is gonna win. So if it's all about winning, like good luck. You have to be like just completely dominant to have even a better than 50% chance in the playoffs. Like once you
Yeah.
made the playoffs. So you just like, I like watching the Chiefs. So let's do that.
Yeah.
Try. I mean, actually, I say I don't usually get Chiefs players because other than Travis Kelsey, Patrick Mahomes, there's not a whole lot.
Yeah.
A lot of fantasy relevance, but
If
if
you're
it's
someone though, like my dad, who seems to find that players he likes score better when they're on the bench than in his lineup, then please leave all your Chiefs players on your bench. So just do that for
you know,
us. So
yeah, don't get too caught up in that. You made a gamble. It's all gambling anyway. Like it's
yeah.
like, oh, this guy on average gets this many catches and this many yards and 0.23 touchdown. Like so. I'm gonna
The,
play him.
the most frustrating thing is when you lose points because of the QB kneel at the end of the
Oh,
game. Lose
oh,
rushing
geez,
yards.
have you ever lost like a match because of the
I
negative two
I don't
yards?
think because of that, but I'm sure somebody has. If that's happened to
Dude,
you, let us know.
I had one game where I lost by point 0.1 and then I won the next time I played that person by point 0 like 2 or something
Oh
or point
man.
oh 0.05. It was
Yeah,
so funny.
that's
Uh
crazy.
good times, good times.
Um,
Uh
what's
but yeah.
your cool not cool for this week?
So
You go
cool.
first
I
and
mean, yeah, I think I'm super excited by Rashi Rice. Like I just think like if you want to take like kind of a hot take, I think he's going to be the best receiver for the Chiefs the rest. But it's not
yeah,
that like crazy to say that, but uh this was the first game where I really recognized what Mahomes was saying, like when he tried out with Mahomes kind of like I don't
yeah.
know if the NFL is going to change that. Like that feels like tampering. Like oh, I'll just go do a throwing session with all these prospects and decide which one I want.
Yeah,
Then
yeah,
I'll tell the guys upstairs which one to get. Um, but yeah, so he had a throwing session and he was like, dude, this guy's the guy I want. And you're like, okay, like a lot of people questioned it, and he does have some drops issues, or he has in the past, but he was amazing. He could have had 2 touchdowns.
yeah,
he's really impressive in the way he's playing. I think he could really take over that
Yeah.
role as the number one receiver, I mean, other than Travis Kelsey. Travis Kelsey's your number
Yeah.
one
Yeah.
receiver,
Yeah.
but like he could take over that kind of alpha receiver role. Because I don't know, how you feel. I would say the cool feedback I would say is like I like KT and everybody did well, but I'm kind of like, okay, I'm kind of fading him a little bit the way I approached him.
Yeah. And this is last season, everyone was like, oh, the Chiefs are gonna stink without Tyreek Hill, and we're better, than they had been the previous season.
Yeah.
So I think, people shouldn't doubt Mahomes, but I think this year it'll show again that like, he can take a room full of people who are not super experienced, don't have a lot of yards, and is gonna be okay. But yeah, I agree with you about Rice. I think he's gonna be, by the end of the season, he's gonna be pretty high up there in our receiving yards. So,
Right.
Okay, my cool.
As long as they don't all have a bad day. That was the thing that first
Yeah,
game. Like even that, like it was like, oh, Travis Kelsey, we need Travis Kelsey. I mean, probably would have been the difference, but also
yeah,
we had 3 of our players dropping everything they were.
yeah, yeah. Included one that would have put us really close to field goal range right off the bat. Um, so my
Happens.
cool is Patrick Mahomes is the fastest player to reach 25,000 passing yards and did it in 83 games, which is several games less than Dan Marino, who is next on that list. So that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think it just shows Patrick Mahomes is really good at football, which is not shocking to anybody, but that's always a good thing to remind us of.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always cool. Celebrate those moments, right? Celebrate the
Yeah.
moment where Kelsey and Mahomes have the most whatever tight end
Yep.
catches in the Chiefs history. I have a bonus cool. People having a reason to cheer for the Chiefs with Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
Of course, they're all gonna just hate us even more when
Yeah.
they break up.
Yeah. I was literally telling Hannah that probably every other team is going to be so frustrated because there's already a lot of people who like the Chiefs, and now there's going to be a lot more people talking about them and liking them just because Taylor Swift cheered for them. And it's probably going to drive everyone else crazy. I'm enjoying it right now.
Bandwagon, come on, join on the Chiefs.
Yeah,
Like again,
there's room in the Chiefs
if you're
kingdom
cool
for
or you're
everybody.
not cool, you're Swifty, not a Swifty, come
Yeah.
on over.
Yeah.
Cheer for us. Don't cheer for the Cowboys.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Pray for Eric also, because
also pray for all those on the Cowboys.
So do you have a not cool?
I would say KT. Like, I mean, he wasn't a factor. Did he get injured or something? I don't think so.
He was on he was active, but I know he was questionable leading up to the game, so I don't know how much
so
of that
he's
was
probably
like
limited snaps.
Yeah.
So maybe that's not fair. What's a good uncool for that game? The Bears defense. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's hard for them. I feel for them, but I think it's mostly just you just want to be kind. Like, we won. We are the more seasoned team. They're rebuilding. They're trying to figure stuff out. It's hard. And we can look at it like, why isn't Justin Fields taking the next step? And it's like, because it's really hard to take the first step. Like I'm never, I could never be a NFL quarterback. I can't process that much. And
I can't even do it in Madden half the time. So
I can't play. I can't process Madden. There's no way I'm going to process NFL defenses.
Yeah, I'd say my not cool is that scare with the ankle for a second there, right before going to half. But I will say on the other side though, I like that Andy Reid is taking risks this season, going for it on fourth, trying to put up points there, because in every other season we just kneel
and our short yardage plays.
Yeah, and so I was happy to see that. Obviously got really scary there for a minute. Then he came back and everything looked fine. He probably got benched a little sooner than he might have otherwise because of that. But the game was in hand.
When you're up 41, we don't need to do the Dolphins thing. Well, I guess that was still their backups. I don't know. We did need 70.
Yeah. So that's
someday we should beat the scoring record.
Yep. Yeah.
Someday.
Yeah, that Mahomes' first year, it seemed like we could have, So And we probably
Yeah, they
still
sure
could,
could have.
but yeah. So
But anyway, yeah, that's cool. Yeah,
yeah.
cool. Lots of cool, uncool. Any thoughts on the game next week? Just real briefly as we think forward.
Well, obviously Aaron Rodgers not playing. It looked like, I'm sure Jets fans are like, but we're gonna be okay with Zach Wilson week one. But it's not looking so good for them. I'm actually gonna be at that game next week.
Oh, that's
So
right. You told me
I'm
that.
I'm excited. I mean, I'll be seeing the place from a lot farther away than I'm used to seeing them on the TV because we're up in the nosebleeds, but I'm excited to see that. And honestly, I would love for it to be a game exactly like this week. That would be okay by me. So yeah.
No
What are your
sweat.
thoughts? Yeah, no sweat.
Yeah, I mean it's depend as long as our offense can get past their defense. I think our defense will handle their offense. So
Yeah,
might not be, I don't think it's 41, but I think maybe like 28, 24
yeah,
um would be would be good enough for that. So it's such a shame. Like they were a really exciting team and having Aaron Rodgers and stuff and Zach Wilson, again, it's hard to be a good NFL quarterback. I don't know. It seems to have struggled, but hopefully we just dominate and you can have a good time dominating around a bunch of people that don't want us to be dominated.
yeah. Yep. So yeah, looking forward to being at that game and talking about it with you next week. So
Absolutely. All right.
all right.
Stay
Well,
cool or
yeah.
uncool.
Yeah, stay
I
cool,
don't
right?
know.
Cool.
Maybe we could decide to be cool this week.
Let
I don't know.
let's
We'll figure it
strive for
out.
coolness this week and let's see
Let's
how that
strive for
gets
coolness.
us.
Kind of hot down here. I'd love to be cool.
Yeah, yeah. All right. See
All
you
right.
then.
Peace out.